welcome to my first episode of Fabrics 101. Today I'll be talking about sequins. So basically the whole point of these Fabric 101 videos is to kind of just pass on information I have about all the different fabrics there are out there, because there are just so many fabrics. And you know, when you're a new sewer or even like a novice or intermediate sewer, it's hard to get, it's very easy actually to get confused in all of the garbledy goop of this fabric, that fabric. What, you know, you don't know what's the difference. And you know, a lot of people don't realize just how much types of fabric there are out there, and they all have different qualities, they all have their pros, they all have their cons. And for the most part, you know, you just, what are you going to do? Get a sample of every fabric that you can out there? It's not easy. And sometimes you don't have access to like going down to the store like Joann's and getting fabric that way and getting to see it. And Joann's is expensive. So hopefully these videos will kind of shed some light on questions you have about certain fabrics, and you know, also give you guys some options so you know what's out there, so you don't have to rely on in-store. You can maybe go and find your fabrics that you need online, where they can be a lot cheaper. It'll also hopefully I can pass on information that I wish I had known before I had sewn with some of these fabrics that, you know, might make you second guess picking that fabric, because I've had, you know, you can have very good experience with fabric and very, very bad experience with fabric. So that's definitely the whole point of what these videos are going to be about. And today is a big fabric to, you know, I don't want to say taboo, but sequins. Let's just leave it at sequins. Like, I have a definite love-hate relationship with sequins, and this will hopefully help you learn how not to make the mistakes that I made when I made my Jessica Rabbit outfit. So, I guess without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so first up, when you think of sequins, and for the record, I'm not going to go through every sequence. Maybe we'll have a part 2 if these videos do well. I'm just going to be talking about kind of the basic ones, which are the small sequins. So when people think of sequins, this is the first one that comes to mind. Ooh, yes. It's pretty much just your regular sequins that you get. It's the kind that are on a mildly see-through, can you see that? Yeah. You can see how you can see my hand through it. So they kind of are see-through-ish, have some stretch. They come in a nice variety of colors. They're cheap, which is nice. On Joann's price is $9.99. I think like on this line you can probably get it for $3.99. I know one of my suppliers does that. And so it seems like a good deal. Yeah. No. Do not buy this sequence fabric. I'm not going to say, I shouldn't say don't buy it, but I really, really strongly advise you not to go with this sequence. Here's why. So this sequence, and it's really blurred, but the main thing is each sequence piece is glued on. You're thinking, well, why is that bad? Because you'll have what happened to me. When I was sewing with this fabric, guess what happened? My needles got so gunked up that it actually ruined one of my machines, because it gunked up the needle that got where the bobbin was, and it started eating the fabric, and it totally messed up the timing within the bobbin area, or whatever the technical term would be for that sewing section. I'm not a sewing mechanic, but I know how to use a machine. So, okay, long story short, pros, cheapest sequins out there, yes. Stretchy, yes. Comes in a variety of colors. Cons, see-through. Means you have to put it on something, unless you want it to be see-through. And the biggest con, glue on sequence. So I give it a no. Alright, next on our list is mesh sequence. I wish I had a bigger piece, but this is good enough. So mesh sequence is very pretty. Here you can see how it catches the light. It is effective. As you can see, the sequins are sewn on, which is a huge plus. Most of the rest of the ones I'm going to show you have sewn on ones. And they're kind of, what's weird though is they're loosely sewn on. I don't know if you can see that too well. Like, they only have one punch hole that they're sewn onto. This one has a variety of sizes, which is kind of cool. Like, they have some small ones and then some big ones, which help catch the light. But there's not a lot on here. And it is mesh, so it's see-through. Oops. So it is see-through. Very much so see-through. You know, it's not that stretchy either. Like, it's okay. It's probably the second cheapest one to get, which I believe is like $14.99 to like $15.99 or something like that. I've only found this type actually at Joann's. I haven't seen it online anywhere yet. So, alright. Pros is, it is shiny. It is on the cheaper side. Cons, see-through, yet again. Not super stretchy, so it's not going to have a whole lot of gives. I hate like saying that's a con, like maybe you don't want it to be stretchy, but and they're not very well sewn on. Like, let's see. What happens if I guess they are actually pretty well sewn on. I mean, I'm not able to yank it off or anything. Yeah, look at that. That's actually, so never mind. They're pretty well sewn on. So mesh sequence. Very see-through is the biggest con. Alright, next up is probably the nicest one out there. This is stretch sequence. Very nice and shiny. Ooh. You know, though, for them calling it stretch sequence, it doesn't feel super stretchy. Like, it stretches and has enough give. Let's just put it at that. Has enough give for you. What I like is it's not see-through. It is on a very nice thick fabric. Each sequence is sewn. It's my phone. It'll shut up in a minute. So, the only thing about this one is your sequins are all in a line. Like, you know how the mesh one, they were like kind of, more prettier design. And this one's very linear. Which, I mean, as you can see, it is shiny. It's probably got one of the best shines out of all of them so far. Now, the biggest con to this one is it's $19.99 a yard. It's super expensive. I've only ever been able to find it at Joann's. So, but look how shiny it is. It's so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. There's another con to this one. It doesn't come in very many colors. Well, I mean, it comes in red, obviously, so if you want to be Jessica Rabbit. And I think I've seen it in silver. And that's it. That's the biggest con, is lack of color variety. So now we have the all-over mesh sequence. Ooh, that is nice. Look at that. It's really catching light. That's pretty. Of course, there is some potential for see-throughness. Like, I can see right through this. But it is not as bad as the mesh. Now, these ones are really tiny. They're about half the size of the other sequences that you're not used to. And there's a lot of them. There's a ton. I mean, the camera is not even differentiating it. Let's see if I can get it too. Oh, look at. Yeah, that's cool, right? Now I'm all blurred. So, it's got a nice stretch, bit of give. It is see-through, so there's that again. Actually, this one has a very funny con. This is really hard to cut. It's really hard. Let's see. And it makes a mess. I mean, all sequins make a mess, but like these are really sharp scissors, and that was kind of hard for them. So, other one is that this is also a pretty expensive fabric. It's at around $19.99. Probably because they shove it over with the bridal stuff. And here you can see what kind of mesh it's on. So, expensive, yet again, not very many colors. Usually comes in silver, gold. I've seen it a purple one and a blue one so far. So, alright, so to our last sequence of the day. Mermaid Sequence. Ooh, mermaid. Ooh. Now, you guys are probably thinking Mermaid Sequence, you think the big ones where you rub your hand and it changes colors. This one doesn't do this. I think the reason it's called Mermaid Sequence, though, is because they're sewn, like, in layers upon each other. So let me get a close-up of that. Come on, focus. Oh, it just doesn't want to focus. There we go. Okay. So you can see what I'm talking about with the layers. And it doesn't look very pretty when you do it the other way. It doesn't look very pretty at all. So this one is nice and stretchy, actually, in this direction, in the way that the scales are going. Not so much the other way. So this one, I don't believe you can find it at Joann's. I had to get mine online, and that's why I have just a small little sample piece. And it was $17.99, roughly. And I've seen it other places where it's more like $15, but so here's the thing. It's definitely very shimmery, which I like, but it means you have to sew it in a very specific way. You would have to sew it where the scales are going downward as a dress. Like if you sewed it this way, sideways, no, it's not going to be very good. There's definitely a lot of sequins on there, as you guys saw when I zoomed in, and it does come in quite a nice color set. Like it had purple, red, blues, greens, silvers, and golds. At least the website I went to did. I just don't know, like, not 100% sold on this one because of the fact that the sequence can only go one direction. So that's probably the biggest con, is that, and it is mildly see-through. Even seeing the theme, like there's a lot of them that are mildly see-through. So that is all the sequence that I have for you today. And if there is interest, I will do another video on some other different types of sequence fabrics, like the bigger ones, the ones with like beading included and all that jazz. Like I said, there's so many sequence fabrics out there, but I hope this gives you a better idea of like what to look for. And my biggest piece of advice, when you're looking for your sequence fabric, keep these things in mind. Is the sequence glued on or sewn on? This is important because a glued on sequence is not going to last that long. The sequins tend to pop off the fabric, especially if it's on a stretch and you need it to stretch for your body. The glue is not going to hold. It's also bad because do you want that glue all gunked up in your machine? Do you want your sewing needle going through that? I don't. I don't think you would want to. So it's probably better to go with a sewn-on sequence, which is great because there's tons of fabrics that are sewn on instead of glue-on sequence. Secondly, to think about, and this is always kind of general to think about, is does your fabric stretch? Does it stretch or does it not stretch? And, if you are making an outfit with a zipper sewn in and you don't want it to stretch, then yeah, you're not going to want it to get to stretch. If you want it to stretch because you're going to just slide it onto your body, then that's a very important thing to think about. Thirdly, is it see-through? This is important because you're going to have something underneath it, an extra layer, and then you're going to have to worry about matching that fabric with it. So, back to the mesh one. So, what's nice about this, you know how it doesn't have much stretch? So you can go with a basic satin lining that doesn't have as much stretch either, and you're not going to have to worry about it. But, the concern is with like some of these other ones that were mesh, that were see-through but had some stretch, I got to worry about that now when I sew my lining that has no stretch. So these are things to just kind of keep in mind. So probably the winner of the day for sequence, I would have to give it to, drum roll please, the Stitch Sequence! Woo! Wildest lost points for being expensive. They were kind of all expensive, so that's why it kind of evened out there. The reason I picked this as my winner is it's not see-through. And okay, so the sequins are linear, but look at that beautiful shine. It's easier to cut compared to the all-over sequence mesh. And it has, see, I always like to have something with a slight stretch, and I'm not going to have to worry about a lining with this. I could just make a dress with no lining and be super lazy and just have this. And, like I said, this is my winner for the day. And, I don't really have much else to say on the topic. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will do my best to answer them. I classify myself as a professional seamstress, but I don't know everything. No one knows everything, though, so I will do my best to answer your questions. And like I said, if you like this video and you want to see another sequence one, let me know down in the comments, and I can see what I can do to make that happen. And I will have more Fabric 101 videos coming in the near future. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And you can find more stuff on my Facebook page. So that link is down in the description for you. Alright, bye! Sequence. 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 Sequence.